I'm going to drop this right up front this week. This review contains spoilers for the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 5. If you don't want to be spoiled, save this to your watch later list and come back to it later. G'day, welcome to the Nerdy Dad channel and the Nerdy Dad review of The Mandalorian Season 3, Chapter 1. I mean the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 5. But in all seriousness, calling it an episode of The Mandalorian makes more sense. The episode is called Return of the Mandalorian, and yes it was. Din Djarin is front and centre for the whole episode, and Boba Fett is nowhere to be seen. I enjoyed the episode, and it answered a lot of questions about what is going on with Mando. But as much as I enjoyed catching up with Din, I think that was also the biggest problem with the episode. It exacerbates one of the main criticisms I've seen about the series, and after this episode, I'm starting to agree. The flashbacks have been great. In my opinion, they've been the best part of the show in the first 4 episodes. The problem is that in the current timeline, we haven't seen enough of a story to get invested in what's going on. After this week, I think I've got a better sense of where Din is at than Boba. And in a show called The Book of Boba Fett, that's a bit of a problem. When The Mandalorian launched, I heard a lot of commentators say they were worried that if Boba Fett ever appeared in The Mandalorian, he could overshadow the title character. This week, I think the opposite happened. Din is a legitimate badass, no more so than in the opening scene in the Meatworks, which was probably my favourite scene of the episode. In a throwback to the opening scene of The Mandalorian, the Mando's back to bounty hunting, although he's definitely packing some cooler gear these days. And I think he upstages anything we've seen from Boba Fett so far in the series. I'm going to be a little bit contradictory here in that some of my favourite things about the episode are also the second reason I don't think the episode worked. I love that Din is getting an N1 starfighter. But did we need to spend half of Boba Fett's show showing him building it? In my opinion, that time would have been better served dedicated to telling Boba Fett's story. Also, the fan service felt really heavy to me this week. Din needed a new ship, absolutely. In the Outer Rim, you take what you can get. We've seen that time and time again. But what are the odds that the ship would be the same as the ship that Darth Vader flew when he was a child? Especially since it was an entirely different class of ship from what Din used to fly. And as near as I can tell, it's entirely impractical for bringing bounties in alive. In addition to this, I can't remember Peli ever having a BD droid before. Do I like the inclusion of BD? Absolutely. But on the other hand, having a BD droid pop up in the same episode we've got an N1 starfighter felt like they're pushing it a little far. I enjoyed so many of the individual elements of the episode. I loved the opening set piece. I liked that the armor has been reintroduced. I liked the potential conflict being set up with Paz Vizsla. But how did Paz escape the slaughter in Season 1? I get a kick out of seeing the N1 starfighter and the BD droid. I do. But, other than the little tag at the end with Fennec Shand, this episode doesn't seem to tie into the story of the Book of Boba Fett. And with 2 episodes left to go, I have no idea what story is being told in that book. It also looks like Favreau is protecting Disney toy sales this week, with the setup to bring Grogu back in sooner rather than later, and with a piece of Beskar armor to boot. This is the way. For Disney shareholders at least. In my head, I'm already seeing the N1 Naboo starfighter Lego set with Din and Grogu visible in the 2 cockpits. Absolutely. At the end of the day, this was a good episode of television that catches us up to speed to where the Mandalorian is on his journey. However, I feel that with just 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett left to go, that most of this episode would have been better suited to Season 3 of The Mandalorian, so that we can actually spend some time living in the world of the crime boss Boba Fett, so that we can care about his character and his story. This is the Nerdy Dad, signing off.